Ladies and gentlemen, this is Gail Morgan welcoming you to the Libertarian Counterpoint's Knuckleheads of Liberty podcast. You've heard their point, now listen to the counterpoint.
Welcome to the Knuckleheads of Liberty. We are coming at you on December 8th, 2021. Getting into the Christmas spirit. It looks like all we're getting from the government, though, is inflation this year under the tree. But before we get into any of the topics, let me introduce you to our panel. In our upper left-hand corner, we have Leon, the word Brathwaite, last word in Liberty. He is a retired engineer in the state of California. In our upper right-hand corner, flying a little sideways today, we have our screaming eagle of freedom, Tim Everett. He is a pilot in the state of California. And my name is Jason McPhee, and I'll be your host today. So let's get into the topics of the show. You know, one of the things that everybody's talking about lately is this Metaverse. And the Metaverse
Jason, I'm sorry. Why is Tim sideways? I'm sorry.
Well, I wouldn't worry about it. Just go with it. This works with the Metaverse. You know, you can be in any orientation you want in the Metaverse. Okay. Since that's what we're talking about, let's roll with it.
Okay.
So the Metaverse is essentially it's virtual reality. You know, they used to have this thing, I guess, called Second Life, and it was sort of a thing where you could have people interacting online in sort of virtual reality. And so Facebook recently has decided to rename themselves Meta. That's the name of the company now that they're going with. And they're trying to take a dominant role going forward in this idea of a bigger footprint of virtual reality into our real lives, I guess you might say. And of course, this means, essentially putting on headgear that's going to, kind of simulate whatever environment that you're going into, but also has the capabilities of sort of simulating your own environment so that you can kind of interact both within what's around you, along with interacting online at the same time, allowing you to do all kinds of weird things like, just exercise in your own environment along with people that aren't actually there but somewhere else, or interact in like business meetings. Let's see if we can pull up the visual here too. So USA Today had a story on it middle of last month, and some of the things that they illustrate doing in the story. Looks like my window is sort of frozen there, so I'm not going to be able to do anything. So some of the things that you can do is play games and other such, but there's also you can attend like meetings. This is one of the big drivers of the Metaverse actually, is because so many people have been trapped home so long with all this COVID stuff that people have been telecommuting a lot more, and that means they're trying to find ways to interact so it's a little more like being at the office without actually being at the office. And so that's another big use of this Metaverse. But obviously, as the technology keeps getting better, they hope that the visuals will become more and more realistic and whatever kind of reality that you want it to be. But it raises a lot of interesting questions going forward, though, because if we are to spend a lot of time in a reality that's not this reality, we've already seen what some of these companies are willing to do to us on social media already, as far as censoring and trying to gaslight, just control what it is you see. And of course, the main guy who would be controlling this is Mark Zuckerberg, who's the CEO of Facebook, and I guess now the company Meta. But he would be the one essentially setting the controls in this world, depending upon how big of a player he is in this. And that's what Facebook / Meta seems to be angling for, is to be a dominant player in this. So it has some interesting implications. You guys have any thoughts on this, the whole dive into virtual reality and implications for, both good and bad going into our future as far as liberty is concerned?
I saw the movie the Matrix, and I never thought that that will be a reality that we will face. But the more I read about this metaverse that they are about to create, it makes me believe that the Matrix might come through. Which makes you wonder: is are we all going to end up living in the quote unquote the Matrix, where that becomes our reality, where this reality will disappear, essentially disappear? What I'm the Tim. This
I-
reality will essentially disappear, and our reality will be the metaverse, where we will always be existing in this place of of virtual existence. I'm not sure I'm comfortable with the long term implications of this metaverse that is about to be created. Maybe it's because I'm old and retired. I have my doubts about it. But it really to me raises some issues that are difficult for me to comprehend at this point in time.
I just want to know if I'll be able to do my workouts with Tulsi Gabbard.
Tim, you had to go there, right?
Yeah, I had to go there. But yeah, this is like Ready Player One or something, you know. And I wonder if Zuckerberg is going to give the entire rights of Meta as this top prize to a game where you got to find 3 keys, and in order to advance in the game, like in Ready Player One. I don't think so, because he's kind of selfish that way. But yeah, I don't know. Let's see how it works out. I mean, you know, do you want to just walk around with visual reality goggles on and bump into the walls? And, you know, is that how you want to live your life? You know, I can imagine that a lot of people are going to spend. I mean, we already spend way too much time on Facebook and
Right.
other internet
Yeah.
places. So I can imagine this is going to make it worse, especially for some people. But other people are just going to, you know, choose reality. Maybe it's, you know, maybe they'll take a vacation and, you know, just take time out, go visit some faraway place. That I don't know what they'll do, you know. But let's see what happens. I'm okay.
Well,
with it.
you know, as far as implications, so yeah, like you talked about bumping into walls. I mean, that's literally some of the improvements they're talking about is essentially the goggles that they will be putting on your head will record what your actual surroundings too, and translate those into where you are, depending upon what you're after in your experience, so that you can actually navigate with those goggles on your surrounding environment while still interacting with whatever environment you're trying to react in as well. So, I mean,
if I'm virtually in Hawaii, they're going to put a palm tree where my wall is, and I'll have to go around the palm tree to advance, right?
I'm not so sure about that, but say you wanted to work out with Tulsi and you were working out, she could be working out in your living room with you, right? And that's where you see her, and the machine translates all that so that everything is where it should be. And so you're literally walking around and interacting, but you got Tulsi there too, interacting.
Wow. Oh, nice. All right. I'm liking it already. I don't get where Leon's coming from there.
Not so dangerous anymore now.
Not anymore.
But the truth of the matter is, these things, you know, the Facebook platform and now Meta and this metaverse they're about to create, it's all of this seems to be leading us in one direction, which is to disconnect us, from the reality that we know. No, I'm not sure that's a good thing. I mean, it's fine. I'm sure there are going to be benefits that you will reap from having the metaverse, like meetings and all that kind of stuff, and maybe working out with Tulsi Tim, maybe, and all that. I'm sure there are benefits, but this seems to be disconnecting us from reality, and I'm not sure where that will lead us as a society.
Well, you know, it's funny because some people's realities are pretty bad. I mean, we talked recently about, you know, somebody trapped in Afghanistan, but suppose that you were lucky enough to have an internet connection in Afghanistan. Suddenly that reality that you're going to could be a reality in another country where you're interacting with people there, maybe in a kind of a nightclub scene, and you're completely getting away from the tyranny of the place you're in. Or it could be another planet. I mean, this is the crazy thing as far as freedom's concerned, that you could, be somebody who designs your own place in this metaverse. And it could be another world. It could be just another dimension, all kinds of different possibilities. But, this does bring up a scary possibility, too, because it also means whoever is setting the background constraints on all of this, we've seen some of the woke stuff that's going on. And if some of these wokesters are in these companies and, they could literally be setting a reality for us where 2 + 2 = 5 seems to make sense. Exactly. That's scary.
Wait a minute. Where it makes sense, 2 + 3 = 5?
No, 2 + 2 = 5. It already makes sense that 2 + 3 = 5.
Yeah, I was going to say. Yeah, I thought you said 2 + 3 = 5.
Well, I hope I didn't, but who knows? Maybe we're already having some virtual
problems.
They're already messing with us.
But do we really want? I mean, you're talking about some kind of people. Whoever set in the background, whoever setting up what this thing is. Do we really want Mark Zuckerberg, who is a lefty by every measure, setting up all this woke stuff for us in this metaverse? Do we want to be living there? Seriously? These guys don't believe in liberty as we know it. They don't. And all of it is being controlled by these people. And some of these are people already working with the government. What's going to happen when they get more intertwined with the government? If in this metaverse, the Mark Zuckerbergs of the world get more intertwined with the government, what's going to happen to the rest of us who are not intertwined, who are the non-elites in society? What's going to happen to us? I see some scary things here that could potentially happen. It really, really scares me, the direction this is going. Even though I will acknowledge there may be benefits from the technology, but there's some scary things that could happen that really have me concerned.
Well, you're not the only one who's concerned, because apparently Elon Musk is kind of concerned about this too, saying it's, the AI implications here are pretty scary, and that we really need to be looking out for, the development of this AI. I guess there'll be a lot of AI that gets built into these types of things, and he said that scares him more than nuclear bombs, as far as he's concerned. So that's. Yeah. But of course,
I think though, if Elon Musk is saying this, I mean, and this is a guy who understands this sort of technology far more than I do. Okay, far more. I mean, and he is expressing some concerns. I think we should pay attention. We really should. I really think we should.
Well, in all fairness, though. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Tim.
No, I was just saying, good point.
Yeah. Well, in all fairness, though, Elon Musk, also all of his businesses are well oriented in reality as well. So I'm not sure how many virtual Teslas he's going to sell.
Why buy a Tesla when you can just drive one around with your Oculus Rift on?
Well, one thing that some of this virtual reality might help to solve is, some of these issues of school shootings and violence. My gosh, if we could, get some of our education virtually, I guess being shot virtually hurts a lot less, I think, than, being shot in reality. And one of the things that's come up recently, there was this Michigan school shooting, and maybe we could get the visual on that one. In Michigan, this kid had gone in. He brought a gun to school with him, and apparently he wound up. There we go. Apparently, he ended up shooting a bunch of kids in the hallway. I think he shot 6 people. I think was the death count in that. Oh, it was 4. Okay.
He shot 4 people killed, and I think 8 injured or something like that.
Oh, okay. So it was a significant amount of damage that this kid did, and one of the interesting things about this is that the parents are actually being charged in this case. Apparently, they had bought the kid a gun. I don't know if it was explicitly legally the kid's gun, but I guess they had put a social media post out saying that was his Christmas gift, I think. So,
They did, yes.
yeah. So, the idea then that the kid wound up having access and then going to school, and I guess he was a little mentally disturbed, and he wound up shooting all these people. They're saying that the parents have some, culpability in this. And so they're being, and it's not just civilly, because certainly that's always been the case that somebody could be sued. But in this case, they're going after the parents criminally in order to put them in jail, I guess, for this. So that's one issue. But it's funny, as a juxtaposition to this story, and then I'll throw them back to you guys. There was a school shooting in Texas that happened quite a few months back. And in that story, the kid wound up he wound up going to school, and everybody said that the kid was bullied. And whoops, so I guess lost my image there. But apparently everybody said that the kid had been bullied. And then they let the kid out on bail, of all things. And so he wound up, nobody died in the thing, but he wound up shooting one kid, putting him in the hospital in critical condition. He wound up shooting a teacher too, and another student got grazed by a bullet as well. And I think another teacher was at least injured in the chaos. But this kid,
she fell down. She wasn't shot, but she fell down. Yes.
Yeah, but this kid, he wound up, coming back, and everybody said how, he was being bullied. It turned out he might have actually been dealing drugs at the school, and this whole thing might have been related to that. But he wound up getting off, and they actually gave him bail. And one of the big differences was there was a color difference going on in this, a skin color difference. And the kid in Michigan was white, and the kid in Texas was black. And, you kind of have to wonder in this day and age, what school shooter shoots a bunch of people and then gets let out on bail?
So you're saying that it's possibly racially motivated? You let them out on bail just so that we are woke enough that we let shooters out on bail? Is that it?
Well, the treatment just seems to be ridiculous. I mean, you guys can go any way you want with talking about, any of the issues with the school shootings, but this contradiction in how these crimes are being compared, the idea that a kid takes a gun to school and he actually shoots somebody and puts him in the hospital, and that he's out on bail. That's kind of crazy. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. I don't understand how that ever happened. I could understand. Yeah, I don't even know how the parents got arrested, but maybe they have laws that are a little different over there, whatever state that was, and I'd have to look.
Michigan.
In Michigan, okay, I'd have to look into that. There may be when a minor commits a crime like that, there's culpability of the parents. So I have to plead ignorance on that. Have you studied that, Leon?
Well, I mean, the first thing is that there are two different jurisdictions we're talking about here in terms of the administration of justice. Okay, but I do see a point, Jason, because right now going on in the American justice system is something that is being pushed by these local district attorneys known as restorative justice. Okay, and they are letting out criminals based on woke criterias. Okay, now this kid, the one in Texas, which is the one you're talking about, yes, he's black, and they gave him a bail, I guess, of $75,000. The parents posted, or whoever posted it, and he got out, which was stunning to a lot of people. I mean, you could have at least seen a larger bail, or the guy should have been remanded until the trial. And I don't know when the trial is going to be. But I am not sure that I will go so far in this particular case to say that you could compare the two cases, because there's two jurisdictions and there are two sets of laws that we are dealing with. But I do understand your underlying point because of this restorative justice nonsense that is going on, and you're letting a lot of dangerous people out on the streets as a result of that notion. I mean, in Los Angeles, this is happening. In San Francisco, it is happening. Philadelphia. We have the Philadelphia DA saying there's no spike in crime, in violent crime. He said that recently. There's no spike in violent crime, even though crime, murder and rape and all these things is up 30% or some number like that in the city. But yet he's claiming there's no spike in crime. AOC is also claiming the same thing, that this thing doesn't pan out. There's no data to support this and that kind of stuff. So there's this thing about this restorative justice nonsense that is going on. But I'm not sure I'll compare these two cases in this particular case. I think it was outrageous that this kid was let out with just a $75,000 bail after what he did. He took a gun to school and actually shot somebody. I mean, thank God nobody is dead, but still, he intended to kill. He certainly did. So I don't know how he would have gotten out. But the case in Michigan, though, I think the parents have some culpability in that case because they bought a gun for the kid. Now, he was only 15 years old, okay? So there's no way in my mind that he should have access to the gun. I am pro Second Amendment, big time. But in this particular case, that kid should not have access to that gun. The parents should have taken more care in terms of more care in terms of gun safety, which obviously they did not. And once the incident occurred, they decided to run. Okay, and they found them in Detroit and they were arrested. Fine. But yeah, I think they should be charged. I really think the parents should be charged in this particular case. I really do.
I was about 10 or 11 when my dad gave me my first .22 rifle. Used to carry it down the street on my bike to go out to the river and go shoot stuff, plink.
Yeah. Well, did you ever happen to, carry that to school?
No. I never even, the thought never even crossed my mind. And they gave him a handgun. So, I mean, a little hard to conceal a .22 rifle that's, like 4.5 feet long, but,
right.
Yeah. And, I would never give a kid a handgun as his first gun, regardless. Anything. It's just, it's inappropriate. It's just counterproductive to learning how to shoot. And there was probably, all these issues already with this kid. I'll bet you anything he was on psychotropic drugs. I'll bet you anything, because upper 90th percentile of these shooters in these school shootings, these young kids are on psychotropic drugs for, like Ritalin or, there's a bunch of them, and they're on these drugs because they get put on them immediately as soon as they, can't pay attention in class or whatever, excuse they have. They go in for a 15-minute meeting with some school medical person is not even qualified, and they issue them a authorization to get a prescription for Ritalin or whatever, and
or hormones.
Yeah, or hormones.
Yes.
Yeah, as far as that goes, sure.
Yeah, but
Sure, why not? I mean, no danger there. So, so I think that's the real problem here. But I mean, to have parents, I agree with Leon, to have parents that are going to be that lax with their child is another thing altogether.
And Tim, if you are correct that this child might have been on some sort of drugs and that kind of stuff, it would mean that the parents must have been aware that he has some sort of psychological issues going on.
Yeah.
And then turn around and buy him a gun? No, man, that's a little bit difficult for me to swallow.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, it certainly may be something that stretches the laws as this gets wrangled out in the court, because it does sound like it potentially is kind of a almost stepping to a new threshold on this. But anyways, I think we're just about near the end of the show, so I think we'll just jump into the Knucklehead Noise Patrol this time. But in this case, a mainstay of the past, you hearken back to that time of riding your bike to the river with a .22 rifle or something on you. Well, that kind of takes back.
Carried it openly down the street in town, Healdsburg, California. just north
Wow.
of Santa Rosa.
In
Yeah, carried
California.
it.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, and you know, nobody thought anything of it. I mean, it wasn't unusual for some 12-year-old kid to go off shooting his 22. You know, I mean, it's just common.
Well, that kind of harkens back, though, to was that also the types of days when you discovered your first magazine, a Playboy with a pretty woman on the front of it?
Yes, it was actually. Yeah, I would go in. You know, of course, I didn't have money to buy them, or you know, where would I hide it? You know, I lived with my dad at the time, so I would go to the drugstore and page through the Playboy surreptitiously, you know, with another magazine over the top of it, and you know, and drool all over these naked women, and you know, so you know, this is true confessions here, and you know, and then I would, you know, put the magazine down and walk out the store. Oh, there's that young man again looking at the Playboys.
Well, Tim, when you were leafing through those Playboys, did you ever happen to come across a Playboy that looked like this one? And can we get a visual on it? No, apparently Playboy has decided to show their first male cover.
Yeah,
so the magazine is sort of going a little bit woke here. Now this is digital too. This isn't back in the day, the paper copy. But
I would say that girl is pretty flat chested.
Well, you know, this is just, you know, this kind of goes to the days, you know, we're sitting here looking at this juxtaposition of back in the past and where we're going in the future. And here Playboy is now showing males on the front cover. And, you know, it's not like there aren't other magazines for that. So it really kind of begs the question of what's going on with Playboy. You know, they in fact, there was a quote, Anthony Allen Ramos, an LGBTQ advocate, was recently was quoted on the inclusion of gay model Bretman Rock on its cover, calling it a powerful step forward in the ongoing movement towards greater diversity and inclusion in fashion and modeling. But, you know, Playboy, that has an audience that's heterosexual men, I think. So, I don't know. What do you guys think?
You know what it is. You know, you go woke, you're going to go broke. Okay, that's what's going to happen to these people. And they're becoming a big joke. I mean, we know what Playboy have always been. They have a target market. And I mean, sure, I have looked at Playboy in my younger days. I haven't done so in quite a long time. But this damn nonsense, this diversity and inclusion damn nonsense is just going to destroy a lot of our society. Playboy was a mainstay in America, and it will soon disappear because of this damn nonsense.
Well, it's either for heterosexual males or homosexual women. But now, who knows who they're for? Anyway, 28 minutes.
Well, so there you have it. You know, a brave new future, I guess, in both the metaverse and, you know, Playboy too. So, there you go. But, you know, I guess that's, you know, whatever floats your boat. So, until the next one, thanks for joining us and stay free.
Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness always.